Okay, we're live. So this is the December 2015 GNU Radio Developer Call. So the last one for the year. And yeah, not too many windows open now. Losing track. We don't have all that much to talk about in terms of planning, decision making, etc. There's mostly information today and reports. I've prepared a little end of the year list of stats. But I think overall it'll be a pretty short call, which I think is not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so let's just go through the agenda, and then I can bring up my list of stats. The first item is another announcement of FOSDEM stuff. So as a matter of fact, Sylvain, Phil, and I just finalized the schedule. Now we still need to make sure that this works with all the presenters, but we have a pretty good schedule, I believe. It's very mixed stuff. It's all kinds of projects and topics ranging from hardware to DSP problems, all that kind of jazz. So quick reminder, FOSDEM is the 30th and 31st of January 2016. It's in Brussels. Attending FOSDEM is free. Obviously, you still need to get to Brussels. And the SDR track is on the Sunday, so it's on the 31st. And we have talks starting at 9 till nearly 5 p.m. And one thing that's new this year, we have a panel sort of in the middle around lunchtime where we want to sort of grab community leaders and other people, talk about stuff. We still need to figure out details on that, but otherwise we have a pretty packed and very solid schedule. So I really want to encourage people to go there, and you'll not regret it, I promise. Okay, any questions on FOSDEM? Doesn't seem so. Google Summer of Code, or rather Summer of Code. I mean, there's multiple Summer of Codes now. So we still need to to collect a good ideas list. Let me just see if I can pull that up. I'm going to start sharing my screen. But do something embarrassing, just tell me. It's showing some random window which I don't even have open, my Google Music.
That's pretty bad.
At least I didn't have an embarrassing playlist on there. What about this? Okay, now you get the infinity, the exception. There we go. So this is the project idea list, and we currently have three ideas. The last one probably still needs some more working on. Actually, I have another one, a fourth idea, but I'm trying to shoot for something between 8 and 10, solid ideas, because I think the ideas list is the most important part about our application. So the thing is, I say we need 8 to 10 fully fleshed out ideas, but that doesn't mean we can't start off with some random brainstorming, just putting stuff on there and then fleshing it out later. So even a seed of an idea is really useful. So I'd really like to encourage people to start posting ideas here. It's very important. Okay. We have any questions on that? Nope. Okay. So Hackfest. The Hackfest is the week before FOSDEM in Berlin, and I still need a head count. I haven't heard from all too many people like a final decision that they're actually coming. So a couple of people on this call I have on that list, but it's not a very long list at this point. And even if you think you've already told me, it doesn't hurt to do it again. And also, I might have lost that original notification. Yeah. So Hackfest in Berlin, week before FOSDEM. if you can be there, if you want to be there, just ping me, and then there we go. Okay. Let me just stop that for a sec. That's driving me nuts. Next release is going to be 379, and the plan is to release it next Wednesday. So we'll have this released before the end of the year. So I'm not quite sure where we are in the release window and the feature freeze and all of that. The merge window, I think, is already closed. I don't know exactly. So Jonathan would know, but he's not on the call. But so given that the plan is to have it in less than a week from now, I'm assuming there won't be all that much movement. Or maybe final merges are still fine. I'm not quite sure. In any case, we'll have a release before the end of the year, making it the third one for this year.
I would like to nag about a matching Volk release.
Okay. Ethan, do you have any comments on that?
No. It'll come.
I think I'm the only consumer of Volk outside of GNU Radio.
What do you use it for?
Building GNU Radio.
Oh, okay.
Somebody has to test this.
OpenLTE and SRS LTE count.
What was that?
Nathan, what did you just say?
He mentioned a couple other projects that use Volk in IRC.
Oh, okay.
It'll be in the minutes.
Oh, I didn't realize. You're famous, Nathan. You're the Vault maintainer now. Okay, so those were all the items except the working groups. Before we go into that, I wanted to present the stats of the year, unless someone else has something. Let's see if I can even. Happens if I. Oh,
This would be project stats.
right?
Project stats.
Yeah, right. So if I full screen, I have some really ugly slides, and if I put them in presentation mode, then I can't actually screen share it for some reason. I'm just gonna have to screen share my my LibreOffice. Sorry about that.
We're very excited.
Can you see that? Can you read that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is pretty much the same. I actually just took the presentation from last year and updated the numbers with some minor changes. So most notably, 2015 was much calmer. That there was just no crazy stuff going on in 2015, and yet there was still a comparable amount of development. So 725 commits since January 1st. Excluding merge commits. First commit by Stefan Ludwig, and 65 unique committers, so slightly up from over last year. Last year I posted top 5 committers. I deliberately went to top 6 this year because the first 4 are always the same, and even the order is the same as like the last 3 years or something. 5 and 6 are interesting because these are students from Summer of Code projects. Johannes worked, and they both worked on codes, by the way. So Johannes worked on Polar codes, and Tracy on Turbo codes or LDPC. It was LDPC. And I like pointing that out because it sort of shows that we've been doing the Summer of Code thing. Apparently, has been working for us. If they've made it into the top committers, and obviously Johannes also fixes other stuff, but the vast majority of these commits were definitely from his Polar code work. Yeah, so 2 releases so far with a third one pending. I didn't count the the 4-digit releases, and we had 6 releases last year, so things are sort of calming down, and the number of commits didn't significantly go down, so I think this is actually a good sign. Um, it's not as crazy, and we didn't have that well. So I think we sort of recovered from the 3.7 API release at this point. So all of these graphics I took from a page called OpenHub. Let me just see. So some of these I actually overlaid with the stats from last year, but not this one. And I sort of have an animation which I won't be able to show now. But this is nice. You can see like lines of code. I'm not quite sure if you can read it. I can just. So what I find interesting is that we have 234,000 lines of XML and then 148,000 lines of C++. So we have much more XML than anything else. Also, we have 12,000 lines of CMake. I'm not quite sure if that's a good sign or not. Oh man, those issues. There are, I forgot to update that. So this is from last year. So the issue tracker is something that has gotten much more use and traction. So these numbers are inaccurate. I'm just going to remove them from here. But one thing that is clear is sort of as people start using this more and more, it's harder to stay on track with keeping the issues closed. And we need more people to sort of help closing bugs, etc. So that's definitely something we need to work on in the future. This is sort of the language breakdown of our code base. So total lines went up more than 100,000 lines over the last year, this time. And I like these stats too. So 12-month summaries. This says less commits and less contributors, and I count more contributors and less commits. So I'm not quite sure about that. How these automated stats are generated. I think overall, though, it's clear that it's pretty stable. The project has been, very, very stable over its lifetime in terms of number of committers, active contributors, that kind of thing. So we've added, like, I think it's another 30 years or something, years of effort in the last year. I find interesting. I have so this is sort of an auto-generated description of our project, and it paints us in a good light. So this is still from OpenHub. It tells us we have a well-established code base, and there's a couple of things that stand out. For example, 65 active contributors in the last year, making it one of the top 2% of all project teams on OpenHub. And now the thing about OpenHub is you don't have to sign up for it. So a lot of projects are automatically picked up. So I'm guessing that does actually put us in a good spot. And it tells us we have well-documented code, etc., etc. People always complain about our documentation, but this website doesn't. We had less Hackfest than usual. So we only had the one at the Edis headquarters and the one after GRCon, which is it's only one day and it's not quite as productive, I'd say. I guess you can say, because it's after the conference and there's a lot of people that I knew, and it's only one day. So maybe we can improve that next year. And it's very likely that we will, given that we're having a Hackfest in Germany, which we didn't have last year. So we had a Hackfest in Delft, but that was in 2014, right? Or was it?
No, that was last year.
Oh, so it wasn't it before?
We had two last year.
Wasn't it before FOSDEM though?
Yeah.
2015.
It was this year in January 2015.
Oh, okay. So I did forget one. Yeah. So we did have the Europe Hackfest then in Delft. Sorry about that. Yeah, but the big highlight I think was the conference. So personally, I thought this was the best conference that we've ever had. But in all regards, venue, the program, we had the record number of attendees. And Michael, you probably have a more accurate count. When I made these slides yesterday evening, I just didn't know where to find the right number. Did you have it?
Yeah, it's like about 235.
235, yeah. So that's something like 100 more than last year.
A little bit less, but yeah, on the order of.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we peaked. I think we really did hit about 150 last year.
Okay. So fantastic, and I'd like to thank all the people who were involved in planning once again. So Michael did a lot of work, but a lot of others did as well. So Tom, obviously, and I'm just gonna forget people. But it was a fantastic conference. I really, really liked it. And from what I heard from other people is that it was very well appreciated overall. Yeah, great conference, and I hope we can keep it up. Working groups are still, same state, I guess, as before. So nothing crazy happening on that front. We didn't have a GSOC, which was a shame. So we weren't accepted into that program, and we're going to work. We're going to work hard to get into GSOC again next year, assuming we can get a good ideas list going. But we were accepted for the Summer of Code in Space, which is run by ESA, and we had one very successful project. So we had one slot total, and it was given to Johannes Demmel, who worked on the Polar codes, who became our top 5 contributor in terms of commits. Yeah, and so this is a great addition. And it was a great project overall. I'm very happy with the outcome. And Johannes also presented at GRCon, and he's still sort of active even after his project. So as I said, we didn't really go as crazy as in 2014, but here's a couple of highlights of things that were massively improved. So GRC had a lot of work, mostly done by Sebastian, who's been putting in tremendous amount of time into GRC, but also Seth, who started picking up the slack. The digital TV stuff was vastly improved, but also FEC API, I think for 2015 really took off for the first time. I mean, we've had it for a long time. I mean, FEC API was an out-of-tree module first, and it's been around, but it's really started to get some good attention, and now we have some serious codes that we can use. Control port was moved to Thrift after we had to move away from ICE, and all the Qt stuff has been, both the widgets themselves have been improved, but also more of our examples on apps use Qt. We had Cgran, the website come out thanks to Nathan and his team, and PyBombs 2 is nearly ready for use. So yeah, lots of fun projects. Yeah, we still have our dev calls. One thing that is new is that all of our dev calls and all of the other videos are now hosted on our GNU Radio YouTube channel. Dev calls I think are very useful, just to keep in touch with the community, and we have people from, usually it's like at least Pacific, Eastern, and then Central European time, but sometimes more than that, which I always find amazing. I usually go to Google Scholar and just put in some keywords, see what happens, and it's interesting. It's went down a little bit, but so have all the other numbers. So I put in these projects as a comparison, and all of these numbers went down a little bit. I'm not quite sure what that means, and I think it just means that the search algorithm has changed, but it's still going strong. Yeah, that's all I have. So thanks everyone. That should probably be happy 2016. That's what I get from reusing last year's slides. Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone in the name of the entire GNU Radio leadership team for contributing, for using GNU Radio, making it a great project, etc., etc. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy working with GNU Radio, and I'm sure most of you do too. And we've expanded to all kinds of new venues and areas, and I think that's a great thing. And I'm really excited to see what 2016 for us. Cool. So those are my stats. I just want to wrap it up with reports from the working groups. So I don't have anything to report on the community side, although that is definitely something that needs to change for 2016. It's going to be my New Year's resolution. I don't know, Doug, do you have something?
I think the only thing I have to report at this point is that Jonathan has put the custom buffer branch in the queue for the next release, so it will not be in 379, but it is, I think, at the top of his queue for the bringing in after that. I still encourage people to test. I can say that it works for me, but we want to make sure that it doesn't break anything else for other people.
That's cool. Nathan, is anything happening on the fault side? What about the release?
Yeah, we'll have a release before the next GNU release, possibly on the same day. Yeah, so I'll backport the polar codes onto mate and then release mate. And then there is a bug fix that needs to be merged in, but needs more testing first.
Yeah, that's sort of the big problem, is the missing stuff on main.
Phil, do you want to is there any embedded stuff you want to bring up?
Nothing to report.
Well, Sebastian did a lot of stuff on GRC. So I don't know if you've been following his work. There's a lot of things happening. There's the embedded Python blocks. There's the variable editor.
His stuff is Qt5.
So this is still the GTK GRC.
Okay, all right.
So he's also working on the Qt port, but I'm not quite sure how much attention that's getting.
Yeah, Qt4 is getting pretty old at this point, and we need to
I
just
think that's something we need to address as a project. Yeah, I know that Michael.
And we we should also pay attention to the Python 3 stuff. I'm just worried about distros starting to pay less attention to Python 2 and Qt4.
Yeah, I mean Python 3 is still a big issue because it means removing cheetah, and we have plans for that, but it's just really difficult. And
it would just be nice to have it done before it becomes a mad panic.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Okay, I guess that's it. So,
right,
happy holidays, everyone. Have a great new year, 2016, and then see all of you guys all fresh in January. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.